Welcome to this week's edition of Living a Rich Life. I am your host, Rich James. Today, this show is dedicated to a very good friend, good family member, a great man. On January 16th, the world lost Franklin James, and I would like to take this time and have a moment of silence and remembrance and recognition of a great man, a fabulous cousin, a wonderful friend, and a major supporter of Living a Rich Life talk show. He is one of the key reasons that I am on air to this day here at BeExposedRadio.com. Thank you, Franklin, for always being a stand-up guy, and more importantly, a reliable, trustworthy, and distinguished gentleman. So we're going to take a few minutes, moment of silence, please. Amen. Brother Franklin King, you will be missed, but you will always be remembered. Thank you all for joining. This show is pretty hard, but I know Franklin would want me to continue. As I mentioned, we recently lost him. Here on Living a Rich Life talk show, we inform, inspire, and remind each other the importance of living a rich life through 6 principles: good health, strong relationships, financial freedom, goals and achievement, extraordinary experiences, and philanthropy. So with that being said, let's talk about it. Our first guest, he is a veteran singer/songwriter. He has performed internationally at concert halls in France, Czech Republic, and Germany. He has been featured for his stirring performance of, and I'm going to tear this last name up, but it's Harry T. Burlew Spirituals on local news outlets in Chicago and Washington, D.C. Before COVID-19, he was one of the last soloists on the main stage of the John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts. Through his music, he has found a way to advocate for the less fortunate and the ones that have been left out. Please welcome the one and only, that soothe voice, Mr. Garrett Jackson.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Rich?
All right.
Glad to be here, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking some time. I thought you was a brother that inspires folks. And I said, hey, this guy, let's get him on the show so he can tell his story and then give some inspiration. So let's get to it. What do you think?
No doubt.
All right. So first and foremost, so how are you doing, especially during this COVID period time, this pandemic?
Yeah. So I'm a dad now, of all things. Most importantly, my son Quincy was born in July of 2020. And so right in the heart of when COVID was just going haywire, at least last year, my wife and I gave birth. And so our little guy is named after Quincy Jones, ironically. And the production connection, because my wife is in TV. And so we're just joyful to have him. And fortunately, our circle is pretty tight knit, so we can still have him see, parents and in-laws, but we keep it pretty tight. But man, musically, last year was a major pivot moment for me because I actually released my very first song as a solo artist, and it's called Letter to a Nation. Look forward to talking a little bit about it here on the show. But it's really about COVID and dealing with a lot of the racial injustice that we saw and witnessed with our own eyes. through the eyes and lenses of others throughout all of last year. And it's beginning to be a bit of an anthem to speak to where we've been and try to give us a sense of hope about where we can go together. For those who may have watched the inauguration of Joe Biden today, you heard him talk about unity.
Mhm.
That's the theme that I'm trying to get across with this piece. Some hard conversations, but hopefully we can get to a place of supporting each other, backing each other, and getting to the place of unity and healing.
Oh, no, that's what's up. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. I think at the end of the day, it says a win-win. So tell us, Garrett, who inspires Garrett Jackson? Who and what inspires Garrett Jackson?
Yeah. I get inspiration from a lot of places, man. So musically speaking, Raphael Saadiq is a major inspiration. His voice, his gift on guitar, D'Angelo, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, Robert Glasper on piano, Common, Black Thought, folks like that. That gives me a lot of the musical inspiration. So when I was trying to approach this song, a couple more folks like John Legend and Eric Roberson were really kind of in my mind as I was writing. And I could kind of hear their voices doing songs like Glory that we saw in the feature film Selma. So those have been some of my musical inspirations. I mean, for the fam, man, just my little guy, my wife, Lauren, they give me inspiration every day and, have been a force throughout all of COVID to keep pushing me to do things like this, to get my music out there. Some of my kind of day one friends, I got to shout out my girl, Carolyn Malachi. It's an awesome vocalist, Grammy nominated vocalist, and really pushed me to get this project out there and believed in this project. So I'm fortunate to get inspiration from a lot of things, man, but God has been good to me, to my family. And so I definitely give him all of the credit, but without question, I've had some folks in life, you know what I mean, who've kind of stood by my side and walked this path with me. And particularly as I got into this journey of pushing out some music, I had that group of folks around me to be that support system.
Yeah, you've always had a wonderful voice. And I say that just from the history of knowing you.
Yeah.
Which is always a wonderful thing.
Look, I always like to take after 5 interviews because then the baritone really settles in and it can be a little bit more impressive. You get me around noon, I sound a little bit more like a tenor, so this is perfect timing. I appreciate the setup.
You got it. Question for you. A question came in. What skills have you learned that helps you in your singing career?
Oh man, so I studied classical voice at Morgan State University in Baltimore, where we both share our alma mater, and learning some of those fundamentals around breath support, being able to sustain a melody, sustain a line so that you can communicate what it is that you're trying to say. Honestly, you learn a lot from these programs about being a storyteller. Hey, when you are being out there singing a solo or if you're on video, whatever the case is, you're telling a story. You're trying to communicate with the people that you're sharing your gift with, and being able to learn what it takes to be able to tell a story in a way through music, I think is a really unique gift. We talk about public speakers, and there's a couple of key things that you want to make sure that you do to really capture your audience and make sure that they're engaged and you're transparent with your message and you reach the folks that you want to reach. But with music, it's a little bit different because the melody becomes your canvas. And so as a singer, you get to really kind of determine how and where you want to shape your music and how you want to use this note or that note to really give an aura of what you're trying to communicate. And so with Letter to a Nation, the unique thing about this particular song is actually kind of a country, bluesy, gospel soul kind of flair, and the likes of Sam Cooke and so many other soul singers, Marvin Gaye from the DMV, who have done the same. And so I had to kind of pivot with my voice and think about how to deliver song like this, but these early learnings in classical voice prepared me. Breath support to stage presence to being able to communicate a story. It all kind of works together so that no matter what genre I'm tackling, I can tackle it with confidence.
Okay. I like that, the story piece. I like the repetitive, repeating that, because again, at the end of the day, this is what we want folks to do. We want you to tell your story.
Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned with the 5 o'clock interviews, tenor versus alto. So what kind of singer would you classify yourself as?
So voice-wise, I'm a baritone. So I've got pretty low notes. I've got pretty high notes. I can do a lot of falsetto that can sound even kind of like a soprano, and kind of work my way all the way back down. So the gift of, particularly for a baritone, is that you tend to have that lower register as well as that upper register that's kind of a head voice. So where you hear a singer like a Jennifer Hudson belt out with a chest voice, that's sort of one thing, but then you kind of get the Mariah Carey is the easiest person I can think of, that has that real airy top voice. You can also kind of get some of that too with a baritone. Not quite as high as Mariah, but a baritone can stretch up there to some of those heights. It's kind of the unique thing about that voice part.
Okay. So those that's just tuning in, watching and listening, we are live here on BeExposedRadio.com with Mr. Garrett Jackson, and we are talking music. We're talking a little COVID. More importantly, excuse me, some good things coming up here. So earlier in your introduction, I know you've been a lot of different places internationally. Has singing expanded your travel experiences?
Without question. I actually began my international travel as a result of singing when I was in high school. In a chorus called Sound of America in 2001, and that led me on a 6-country tour to a few of the places that you named in the bio, Rich. And it really began to expose me to not just what's possible through music, but just how internationally accepted or sort of universally accepted the gift of music is. In every culture, in every society, music is a part of the language of a people. And so having the opportunity to travel and do those types of things just made me realize just how special the gift and the language, quite frankly, that music is. So from high school doing that to going to Morgan, ending up in Paris, singing with Wynton Marsalis for his All Rise presentation in Paris, to 2004, being a part of the first Black choir, Morgan was, to sing in the country of Russia in 2004 for an international festival my sophomore, junior year. It was just incredible. And so I've had these experiences that have shaped who I am and helped to build my character so that when I'm out in front of people, when I'm trying to communicate the message, my message is one of peace, one of love, but also one that's not afraid to speak truth to power, because music has the ability to do that. It has the ability to stop us in our tracks, make us think about what's going on, and be able to change course for the better.
Absolutely. That's well said. That's well said. I'm trying to sit here and I'm wondering, how come we haven't had these conversations beforehand?
It's all in the right time, baby. This is where we're supposed to be, right here.
This is true. I appreciate
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Understand that. Excuse me. So tell us, I want to hear about your song that you have just recently working on. And it's Letter to, what's the title of it again?
Letter to a Nation.
Letter to a Nation. Okay, that's
yeah. So it's wild. So March of last year, I woke up with this song on my heart, words, music, already just completely like 90% done. And what I decided to do with that was to record it in an app called Acapella, because of my keyboard skills are okay, but I really had a specific sound that I knew was coming from this song. And so what I ended up doing was recording myself in 8 different parts to kind of get a sense of what I was hearing.
You did a Ray Charles?
Was it?
You did a Ray Charles?
Man, it was, and so to think about it that way, you're trying to sing something that you hear, and you're trying to hear it and sing it at the same time. So it's playing mind tricks on me. So I think the more that I do it, maybe it'll come a little bit easier. But this was literally the first time I was using this app, and I was like, okay, I know I can do this, but this brand new song, like it's mine, so it's got to be right. It's got to be right. And I knew that this message was something that was powerful, and was quite frankly taken aback by the fact that the content of this message was so strong. And given that we were just beginning to get into COVID, stay-at-home orders were starting to go in, virtual posture with work for a lot of people was going in place, mask wearing, and then of course confusion because we were getting one message from, now thank God, our former president, and a variety of other sources to figure out what it is that we do. And so this song was born out of that initially. And so the songwriting process, once I did the acapella joint, I'm like, okay, let me see if I can go ahead and take this to the next level. What I actually ended up doing, I connected with Eric Roberson through an app called Patreon. It's a music subscription service for folks who want to see the behind the scenes of an artist. So I subscribed to his Patreon page and communicated with him. And he shared with me, he said, man, this is something that I think you need to go ahead and take into the studio for real. So, having never done it for myself, I'm like, okay, well, where do I start? Fortunately, I knew some folks. So I reached out to a couple producers, and they were generous with their time, man. And before you know it, we were rolling. And fast forward a couple months later, once the piece was finally up and running, decided to do a music video. And the music video wanted to make sure that while I had confidence that the song was gonna catch people, I wanted a visual that communicated this vision of what's been going on. So it's one thing to sing about COVID, to sing about racial injustice. It's another thing to be able to show people what it is that you're talking about. So the goal of the video was really to help folks cope with grief, acknowledge anger, and not stay silent in the face of injustices around us. And so that has been the tool that I've been using and promoting and sharing. Man, I've had conversations with school kids in Philadelphia this week. We're talking to more students in Maryland next week. It's wild how this is coming together and how folks are taking this on and thinking about what their letter to a nation looks like. And so that's the thing that's been exciting me as of late, man. And I'm just trying to continue to push this message out there while I'm excited about our new administration and hoping that the vaccine and all of those things will encourage us to get to a better place as a country, particularly for Black people, because we've been getting the virus at higher rates, dying at higher rates, to really kind of get at some of these issues from a policy standpoint. Then I think we can really be in a better place. And it kind of helps because I've got this music background and I did citizen policy at George Washington University. So I'm kind of blending the two of these avenues together with this song. So it's a really, really unique opportunity, really unique moment. Kind of hate to have had to write, felt the urge to write a song based on these circumstances, but these are what the times call for, and I'm glad I had the courage to step up and do it.
Yeah, and I think having when you have a platform like that, when you're in music and you have that opportunity, I think just in generally speaking, that's what you should be doing. Me being on this radio show, at first it was like, hey, I'm good at doing this, right? But now I usually inspire folks and remind them and kind of give them some inspiration to tell their story, because ultimately it will help someone else, right?
Right.
That's how I envision it. What first got you into music, Garrett?
Oh man, what first got me into music? So likely one of a couple things. So definitely my church that I grew up in was the first place that I really started singing for real. Okay. My grandmother actually was an opera singer in New York back in the 1940s and 50s, where that was relatively unheard of at the time. And so some of my initial music inspiration kind of comes from her and my mother, who was one of the first Black singers in Washington Choral Arts Society back in the 70s and 80s. And so their example definitely kind of paved a way for me to even kind of get into it. But I didn't really open my voice for real until almost high school. Studied a little bit of music at DeMatha Catholic High School in Hyattsville, and really took an honest look at what I wanted to do. And honestly, back then I was like, I want to sing. That was all I knew. I said, I want to sing. And I didn't know what that was going to turn into. One thing led to another, and I got a scholarship to go to Morgan for music as well, and kind of continued on. And it's been some time. I've been singing on the side, I'll say, aside from my 9 to 5. But I've always had that passion for music, sung in a variety of different groups. Baltimore, now Columbia, Maryland-based Soulful Symphony that's selling out shows for years, and a number of others that I've been blessed to be a part of. But this is sort of that first time where it's like, wow, here's the next step opportunity for me. So it's just humbling, man. It's humbling to be in this position. It's humbling to share your gift with something that's so meaningful to so many.
Yeah, they say music is it's a universal language. So that's
yeah, no doubt.
So again, we have Garrett Jackson, singer, songwriter. So I heard you say when you get on Living a Rich Life radio talk show, it's not called Be Exposed Radio for nothing. So can you hit us with a song first or something, just a little something to whet the audience palate?
Oh man. All right. Yeah. We can do that. Let's see. I'm gonna do a couple things to mix it up a little bit. So do just a little bit from Letter to a Nation. And if y'all want to, shoot the video at some point, we can do that too. But let's see. Let me do a little bit of that. Where do I begin? Will it ever end? How did we even get here? How long will we be here? When will we win? Our time seems like it's running thin. Confusion and delusion are sinking in. Our faith is being shaken, might bend, but it ain't breaking. Would you listen to my letter to a nation? Dear America, oh, dear America. Yeah.
Nice, very nice. Let's piggyback off of that right now. That sounded excellent. How can folks get a hold of Letter of a Nation and follow you on social media? Let's give them that information right now.
No doubt. So at Real GP Jackson, for all of my social media across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit me up. I'm a kind dude. Like, send me a message, I'll send something back to you. It's all love. At Real GP Jackson. And you can find Letter to a Nation on YouTube. Search Letter to a Nation GP Jackson, and it will pop up. You can see the incredible video shot by Make a Scene Media, women-owned media company based here in Silver Spring, Maryland. So it's dope. You gotta watch it. Sit down with your family, with your kids, whoever's in your house monitoring COVID. Share it with them, share it with friends and family, and ask folk, man, what is your letter to a nation? What is it that you want to see different? It's also available on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify as well.
Okay. So you heard it first. This is Living a Rich Life radio talk show. You heard it first right here on Be Exposed Radio. That's why we call it Be Exposed Radio, because we inspire, inform the whole nine, and we will expose all the good sounds, good things about individuals right here. So that was really good. You got a lovely voice there, Garrett. You got a lovely voice.
Can I do a little something else?
Yeah, absolutely. What else? What else you got for us? Give us something else.
So I got a classical background, right? So now we're gonna do the whole 180, the other side, and somebody who's gonna look at this and go directly to the classical part. You're gonna try to figure out how I sound like the same person with the same voice. But so this is a bit of the classical side. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Nice. Here you have it, Mr. Garrett Jackson, singer, songwriter.
We here, baby.
That's a good sound. That's definitely a good sound. Do you sing in the shower?
All the time. It's terrible because the shower is where you mess up. You just sing whatever, man. I could be in that joint, just trying to make up songs and the words be all wrong. I be trying to figure out sound like voice be cracking. I mean, just because it's a most vulnerable place that you can be, and so. And it's even got a little bit of acoustic. I think that's why everybody kind of likes it because you hear
right. That's what I was getting to.
Hey, it's got a nice little ring to it. And folks think that they can sing. It's like, nah, man, go ahead and show it all that. But yeah, man. I mean, I love to throw a tune up in the shower and just let a song resonate and figure out like what might be the next thing. Right now, I'm just kind of working on thinking through what I want my follow up to look like. Something around. Going back outside again, what that looks like, man. So, we'll see. But yeah, the shower, all inspiration.
Ooh, excuse me. Okay. What does your process look like, right? So you have this song out, and I know you just had this inspiration to write it. Yeah, but as you look and think about moving forward, what does that creative process look like for you?
Man, I got to tell you, yeah, bless you, man, bless you. One of the things that I told these 10th grade students in Philadelphia earlier this week was when it comes to the writing process, I really try to let the writing come to me. And one of the questions that they asked was, when you're writing, are you writing to a specific genre? For me, if I were to try to write to a specific genre, I feel like I would already be boxing myself in. Because part of it is when you're writing, it's freedom of thought, right? You're trying to kind of find what it is that you want to say, or you have a bit of what you want to say, and maybe your vibe is R&B, maybe it's soul, maybe it's hip hop, whatever. It could be a variety of things. But I honestly believe from a writing process, when you're focused on the writing, the genre may speak and be something totally different, right? And so. One's giftedness in writing, in my opinion, is not tethered to a particular genre. You could just be a dope writer and you can write to a variety of different things. So I try to approach my writing process with an open mind and really try to find a quiet space. So these nighttime is the right time for me. So when everything's quiet, when the phone's not buzzing no more, the emails aren't coming in, the baby's asleep, everybody's asleep. That's when I can think my clearest because it's so quiet. And so more times than not, in those moments, that's where the ideas start to settle in because the busyness of the day has subsided in such a way that now there's a level of clarity that I didn't once have. But I mean, Lepto Nation is different because I woke up with it.
Right.
So I don't think you can I don't think you can really determine how the writing is going to happen. Some folks are just gifted and they can just
start writing
about something and just start writing.
Yeah.
And some people try to, try to conjure it up. They try to force that process to happen. And, sometimes that doesn't lead to the greatest quality because maybe you're trying to, maybe you got a deadline. We always have different things.
we always got deadlines.
Process, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, maybe because I'm not yet in that position yet where I'm signed and I'm writing, I'm speaking for this year. I'm looking forward to the opportunity when somebody might say, hey, gee, we need to go ahead and see about you getting picked up. But in that writing process, I try to let myself be as free as I can so that I can hear what it is I need to hear and write what I need to write.
But one of the things though, you kind of say, hey, you have that downtime with things a little quiet. You just, might just go into a room and then you might just let it go. But it's easy, it's flowing, right?
Yeah.
So that's part.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it leads to a more authentic experience. You know what I mean? Like if I'm trying to live a rich life, right? I'm trying to make sure that everything that I do, it lines up. I'm trying to make sure that every time I get in front of a pen and paper, that I'm being authentic. And what flows from that is my heart, and you can hear that with Letter to a Nation. You can hear and feel the passion in the song because the writing was authentic. The writing was coming from a real place, and so I always try to encourage folks that are interested in songwriting that for me that's what worked. I mean, I haven't written yet, knock on wood, a Grammy-winning song, but I've written some things that I know when I hear it, it's good, and I've been fortunate that a song like this has been received so well, man. So that's what I share with folks. That's what I share with folks for sure.
And I know there's more to come there. I definitely.
Without question.
So one of the things you mentioned earlier was in regard to you found this app, right? Because again, we're in a different phase in the world where, one, I'm able to bring Living a Rich Life talk show, and again, Be Exposed Radio, we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Station, but doing it virtually, this is nothing new to us. We have a team like your producer like Monty, and you have team folks, executive directors, and things of that nature.
Right.
So how do you feel the internet has impacted the music business?
Oh man, when I tried to get into the music business back in 2006, there was this little device called the iPod that came, and that completely upended the music industry as it had been prior to 2006. And ever since then, man, it's been kind of a race to the finish. I think where we are now is in a much more well-defined space. Now that things like streaming platforms are sort of primary sources for musicians to be able to and artists to be able to get their music out and heard and monetized. That's obviously a really strong way to kind of generate buzz. Social media obviously is a major player in that and influences where a lot of artists get discovered. So there's a big I think now there's kind of maybe a foundation around what at least the current state looks like. I can't really speak to the future, but to getting found on Instagram, on TikTok, folks can collaborate using all types of different tools and applications to do remixes with folks, almost in live time. On TikTok, you can do a duet where someone who actually uploaded the video, you can then upload your video to sing a harmony with them, and then kind of put you back out there as your kind of collabo with said artist. So it's changed, I think, for the better in some ways, because the consumer, the person who actually wants to purchase or be entertained by the music has so many ways to access that music. I think the saturation part is a bit of a challenge because music is everywhere. It's is it on your Amazon Music? Is it on your iTunes? Is it on is it on SoundCloud? Is it on Spotify? Is it on Deezer? Is it on this? Is it on that? So there's a lot of sources for folks to actually consume music. I'm not sure how good or bad that is. I guess if your music is everywhere, then whoever has their taste for whichever app, that's great.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely changed the game, and I'm just learning, to be honest with you. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that evolves.
Okay. Question here for you came in. Who would you most like to collaborate with?
Oh man, John Legend, John Legend, Eric Roberson, God man, Robert Glasper, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, like the folks that I named as my inspiration, like any of those cats would be insane, absolutely insane.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal. Some of those folks, because I actually know the names.
Okay.
I actually know the names.
I love it.
So, what's your favorite song to perform? Do you have because again, your voice, you can do a few different things. We just heard. Do you have a favorite song that you like to perform?
Yeah, that's a great question. So normally, up until this point, I'll say, when I've been performing, it's been more of the classical genre. So one of my favorite pieces to perform is the oratorio Handel's Messiah. And Handel's Messiah tells the story of the birth of Christ, and there's a whole kind of thing all the way up to the death of Christ. And so there are a number of solos and choruses that do that whole thing. And it's this big grand production, and it's really, really it's more than 200-year-old piece. But that's around Christmas time. That's one of my favorite ones to do. Outside of that, man, I got to really actually, one of my favorite songs to do karaoke to is
I was going to ask you that. Do you do karaoke? And
every blue moon, one of my favorite pieces to do karaoke to is Usher's song "You Don't Have to Call." That joint is just, I think, is off his 8701 album from.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a cold jam that every time it comes on, after the night, don't leave your girl around me to play for real. That's for real. It's just a vibe, man. Like,
right.
I just love the way he bounced on situations. I dust. It's just a whole vibe, man. He kind of got a little Michael Jackson flair to it too. You could hear in the bebops of the way that he uses the words and everything. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's one of my most fun songs to sing.
All right, I see you getting to it. I look forward to.
Oh yeah, man. The minute that joint comes on, you don't have to call. Like, hey, some king girl, cause I will be alright tonight. It's great, man.
Nice. I love it. I love the energy. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
You recently did, for those that don't know, again, we have Garrett Jackson, singer, songwriter extraordinaire. Garrett is a Sigma. I'm also a Sigma.
Yes, indeed.
You recently performed at a Sigma event, did you not?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Man, it was crazy. So I connected with, and I had no idea, but one of my grad school chapter brothers, a guy by the name of John White, he was the director for the virtual production of Sigma's 107th Founders Day event. And we connected in December and hadn't been in contact for one reason or another for maybe the last, I don't know, let's say a year. And we're in a leadership program together currently. And I happened to learn that he was in the program, reached out to him, and we're just catching up like we had just talked yesterday. So we're texting back and forth. I said, hey man, I just happened to release a song. And by this point, I had just released it, maybe same week. And so he listened to it And immediately he was like, "Hey, bro, I need this to be on the program. Are you willing to have us show this video on the program to the brothers?" I said, "Man, absolutely. Like, of course, that would be incredible." And man, he followed through, man. He followed through, and that presentation for the entire fraternity has been seen, I think, about like 60,000 times now, which is incredible.
It's up there. It's up
Yeah,
there.
man, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I was nestled between brother Victor Glover, who some of you may not know the brother part, but Victor Glover is the brother who's in space right now in the International Space Station. And we actually had a live conversation with him from the International Space Station on that program, live. It was incredible. My song came up right on the back end of his talk, which was crazy. And then right after me, Blair Underwood came and gave a presentation. So it was just blowing my mind how all of this was happening. And then I didn't realize until John mentioned it, but also another one of our Sigma brothers, Kurt Carr, who's a multi-Grammy nominated gospel singer, industry leader for God knows 30 some odd years, who also had a presentation. And a few days later, man, he actually tweeted out and said an Instagram post and Facebook post about my song and encouraging folks to listen to it and watch it, which it just shattered my whole day that somebody like him would think so highly of a piece like mine and tell his audience and his followers to listen, man. So it's been wild, but yeah, the brothers have stepped up incredibly, and it's been a joy. It's been a joy.
Excellent. Again, we are interviewing Garrett Jackson, songwriter, singer extraordinaire. And one of the things that I like to ask my guest, Garrett, is what does living a rich life mean to you?
Oh, man, it means living authentically, man. It means living authentically. And at the end of the day, I honestly believe that who you are, people can tell. You know, I mean, the same thing that we saw with our outgoing president. We knew who he was before he got here, and he just continued to show us who he was. And I only use that analogy to say, when people see you for who you are, they can tell. When they can see your authentic self, they can tell. And so I always try to bring my authentic self to the table because I'm trying to spread love. I'm trying to spread positivity. I'm trying to speak truth to power and get us as a people to a better place. And so that posture of authenticity, of integrity, of making sure that I own my word, that when somebody reaches out, I reach back out, and making sure that I'm a part of this body of believers that are healing folks, that are trying to reconcile folks. I think that's where living rich really takes shape, because it's not so much what you're doing for yourself, it's what you're doing for other people. So living richly for oneself, I mean, that's cool, but I don't know that there's much of an impact in that, you know. But being able to live richly ought to mean that somebody is impacted by your living. The fact that you are living richly means that somebody's life is better. That's what I believe, man. And I know doing it. So I appreciate the honor of being able to be a part of this brand. Be Exposed Radio, living a rich life, man. It's real GP Jackson. I appreciate y'all.
And what I want to do, Garrett, also, excuse me, hopefully I ain't trying to catch nothing.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure that we connect, we get your information, because there's a few things that we do on Be Exposed Radio, and we can talk about that off the air.
No doubt.
But so what's next? What's next for Garrett Jackson? What's next for you?
Man, next, need to eat some dinner. Need to get some food, man. No. Just trying to come down from this inauguration day, man. Incredible to see our first African-American vice president in Kamala Harris. Just really excited. An HBCU grad. I mean, it's all of the vibes, man. She's just an incredible human being. And I look forward to one day maybe meeting her in the White House. We'll see. But just incredibly grateful to be an American today, celebrating, of course, our President Joe Biden and everything that we're looking forward to with this administration. So trying to come down off of that, have a nice beverage to toast it up, and hopefully 2021 will begin to look a little bit better. But in the meantime, man, I'm continuing to push this song out there, Letter to a Nation. Want you all to feel free to share it. Hit me, man. Real GP Jackson. Want a dialogue. Want to continue to get this song out there. If you know somebody that needs to see this, hit me up. Send it to them. Share it with them. Let's dialogue, man. I'm trying to get this message out there and really encourage folk to sit down and think about what their letter looks like. It doesn't have to be a written letter. It doesn't have to be a song. It could be whatever it is that you're seeing in your local community that you want to see be different, and how you're going to be an advocate to make sure that happens. So that's what I'm pushing. We're actually starting a curriculum, Rich. We're going to do a curriculum that's going to hit hopefully K through 12 and post-secondary. That's going to focus on civic engagement, racial reconciliation, and social justice. So we're going to approach this through a lens of Black folk, of having our voices at the table to build this curriculum. So we're working with folks across the country to be able to pull this off, and hopefully we'll have it ready sometime this year. But that's sort of the big thing that I'm beginning to lean into. I'm really excited about it. My dear friend, Dr. Rhonda Hilton, is helping to stand this whole thing up, and I just couldn't be more excited to partner with her and my best friend, Dr. Lamar Hilton, on this effort. So it's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on. We're pushing this song, trying to build up this curriculum, trying to save our babies, man, and do it for the culture.
All right. Well, I appreciate you joining, Garrett.
Yeah.
Continued much success to you, my brother.
My pleasure.
My young brother. Thank you for sharing your story. We'll definitely connect, because I could help you with a few of those things. But thanks for tuning in, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Appreciate y'all.
All right. Thanks a lot. Whew, that voice there. So that was Garrett Jackson, singer, songwriter, has a lovely voice. I don't know what you guys think, but it's a good sound. I encourage you to check out Letter to a Nation. I will post some information on my Instagram and to make sure that you could get to it and access that information. We're going to keep the show going. Our next guest should be coming in shortly. I got to say, my next guest was a random one, but I saw her profile and I said, hey, she looks like she can inspire someone. She has inspired individuals, and she's not my first model to be on my show. So she's a fashion model. She is a wardrobe stylist, and more importantly, she is a business owner, small business owner. And the name of that company that she owns is At 1117. So with that being said, please welcome the talented and amazing print and runway model, Miss Jada M.
Hello.
Well, hello, Miss Jada. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I am well. So I want to get something out of the way right now. So are you a traveler?
I am, yes.
Okay. Were you recently in Mexico?
I was actually.
I swear, I think we might have been in the same resort.
Really?
I just got back from Mexico with my brothers hanging out there. I just got back Monday.
Wow.
I was in Cancun, and I said, Dad, Gordon, those pictures look familiar.
That's crazy. Yes, I was in Cancun.
Small world. But enough of that. Let's talk fashion. Let's talk about you. What made you decide to pursue a career in fashion, first and foremost?
When I was a little girl, it was just something that was always on me. Like I just had interest in it. Just going shopping all the time with my mom. Like I just would always be interested in picking out my own things. When you're young, your mom taking full control over what you're wearing, but I'm just like, I had my own look. And I just knew it was a part of me. And at a very young age, I had an opportunity to just by shopping with my mom, I had an opportunity to sorry about that. I had an opportunity to model for a store called Fashion Bug, and it was an amazing experience. And from there, I just knew it's life. That's just what I love.
Well, most women enjoy shopping, but you took it to a next level, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So how old were you when you started with Fashion Bug?
I had to been, I know I was in elementary school, maybe 8 or 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my very first guests, who his name is Dallas X, and he does, I guess you call it print modeling, which in the magazines and stuff. Yeah, so he does stuff for Target and other little things. So I guess starting young is the way to go when it comes to.
Yeah, it is.
What do you consider the most important facet of the fashion industry?
What I consider important is, just being an individual and being able to pretty much own a look, because it's really easy to emulate, fashion these days. It's, being an individual is really hard for a lot of people and being an innovator. So I think that's very important.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense when I think about it. I've tried to change my fashion style a couple of times, but somewhere I still come back to just putting on a suit. I haven't had to put
nothing wrong with that,
right? But so I'm working on it. I'm that guy to get the same polo, different colors.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right? What do you think are the current and future trends in fashion? Tell us what's popping now.
Well, right now what's popping is designer, Dior this, Gucci that. In the future, I do believe that's probably going to change. I just think a lot of my generation, we are pretty much showing, that we can be different, we can be creative, and everybody is finally, putting themselves out there. Mm-hmm. So I do think that, designer will still exist, but I think that, the youth, we're going to be the future.
Okay. So Gucci, Dior, all those good, Louis Vuitton, some of these things have been around for a while.
Absolutely.
I've gotten a pretty good suit from the Goodwill store. Do you shop at the?
Listen, nothing wrong with the Goodwill at all. If you know how to put it together, absolutely. You can find little pieces there. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, all right, that makes okay. I'm about to say, because you can find some good stuff.
Yeah, you can always find little pieces at the Goodwill, the thrift store, and even put it with designer. There's nothing wrong with it. If I find a nice top at the Goodwill, but I have a designer bag that I want to throw on with it, listen.
I'm laughing because I can feel your energy, because you're so serious about it.
Yeah.
Define fashion versus style. Is there a difference?
It is a difference. Fashion is the trend. Style is what makes you an individual. What makes you really. How would I put this look together versus how this person here will put it look together. That's the difference.
Gotcha. Okay, so style. All right. So then I have styling.
Absolutely. You make it your own.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You can't tell me nothing. Do you ever see stuff? Let me ask this question, because sometimes folks wear solid color. They're always wearing a solid color. Someone that just always wear black, or someone that always wears white. We've heard of these individuals. What's your thoughts on those individuals that just always wear those solid colors?
I don't think anything is wrong with that.
No?
Nothing is wrong with that. I'm actually one of those individuals. I mean, I think my go-to is black. Like you can't go wrong with a little black dress, with some nice heels and a nice bag.
Actually, I could go wrong with a little black dress. I mean,
Well, listen, if you're a female, I guess. Yeah, no, I don't think it's anything wrong with solid colors. It's easier to put things together when you wear solid colors. So,
okay. You mentioned that you like to shop, right? So what
yeah.
piece of clothing do you spend your money on the most?
Woo, that's a good question. Probably shoes and bags. Yeah. Shoes and bags. As far as like tops and bottoms, I would go to stores like Forever 21, H&M, Zara. Nothing wrong with that. And then go online and go find me a Dior bag or a Gucci bag and just match it all together.
Okay.
That's how you do it.
Shoes and bags. Okay, shoes, and that seems to be the consensus when I
Yeah.
talk to the models these days.
Yeah.
Now, do you read fashion magazines?
I used to. I will say that I've slacked. But my dad actually got me into reading fashion magazines when I was younger because he was actually a designer. So, but I do not now, just because we have so much access now to social media. So I see everything there. That I don't really pay attention to magazines anymore.
Oh goodness, that is too funny. Yeah, that is too funny. That is too funny. Yeah, everything.
I should get back into it though. I actually have a membership with a magazine. I gotta figure what I'm paying for. It's a subscription, but I don't even read them at all. I don't read them.
That's funny. Where would you like? And I know this for those that are watching. We are talking with Jada M, fashion model and owner of. Let's talk about 1117.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about that. Where did you come up with that concept, that idea, the name, more importantly to me?
So the name is actually my birthday. My birthday is November 17th. So I just came up with 1117, and I spelled it out just to make it a little clever. My logo is actually a 7. That is my favorite number, and it is a number of completion. So I just decided to use the 7 as my logo. And yeah, that's pretty much how my name came about.
Oh, creative. Okay. Okay. Now tell us about your fashion. What types of clothing do you have? It's something specific. And then while you do that, tell us also how they can follow your brand, your company.
Absolutely. So right now I'm just focused on a streetwear brand, but I am going to soon start designing dresses and things like that for the ladies. I do want it to become, a luxurious brand. On Instagram, it is 1117, just how it's spelled out, with the 7 in the middle. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
How long for those that are just tuning in and watching? How long have you been in business with? How long? What's the duration in terms of? Excuse me. You've been open. You had your own business.
Just launched November 17th, 2020. So
just launched.
Yes, just a few months. Yes. So
you're early in the game.
I'm early in the game, still learning, but I'm excited.
All right. Now, is it Instagram they can follow you through, or do you have a website? Share how people get a hold of you.
You can follow me on Instagram at official Jada M, and Jada is spelled Jadaa with the M at the end. My brand Instagram is 1117, like I said, with the 7. If there's any way I can, it's also in my bio on official Jada M, so you guys can actually click that in my bio.
Okay.
And then my website is, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I got
okay. Sorry, my connection is acting up here.
It's okay. We got you.
Okay. It is 1117 by JadaM.com. And then that is also in my bio.
Now, when I think about fashion, I think about style. I think about a certain look. Sometimes I feel like folks, makeup is a part of that, right?
Mhm. Yes, it is.
Now, is it possible for women to wear too much makeup?
To each his own. I don't really judge on who, decides to put on
No
the full face
judgment.
of makeup.
There's no judgment, right? I mean,
No,
there's
there's no
judgment.
such thing as too much makeup. I think it depends on what the occasion is. If someone is going out to dinner or,
Mhm, mhm.
a shoot, it depends on what the occasion is. Me, I like a simple makeup look every day. I don't really put too much on, but like I said, to each his own.
Oh, I see you're being real politically correct right now, right? Because I've seen women. Let's, and
So you
again, it's
trying to get
no
me in
judgment,
trouble?
but I'm thinking if there is a such thing as too much makeup. I mean, to me, I've seen it. Like
Mhm.
it just is, what's the word they say? Caked on.
Okay, keep going. I think that
Don't act like you didn't hear the term.
I think it depends on your ability to apply makeup. I would say that. Because I've seen a full face of makeup, but it can be pretty. Just as long as you know how to apply it.
I got it. Jada, you are hilarious. I don't think you even know it. Here's a question from the audience. Do you think that the clothes you wear reflect what is inside?
Yes, I think that it depends. Like when you look good, you feel good. I always go about that motto, and you're confident about what you're putting on. So if I walk out the door with a suit on, I know I'm gonna walk out the door and conquer the world. So absolutely.
Yeah, I will agree with that. When I get a haircut, and
You feel good.
can't tell me nothing.
Okay.
Especially when I get a haircut, you can't tell me nothing. Nothing at all.
Absolutely.
In what ways do you dress differently from other? So you're a fashion model. And tell us, what ways do you dress differently?
I'm really into vintage. I like, the designer is amazing, but for me, if I'm looking at designer, I kind of look into more of the vintage, what's been worn back in the day. Like old Dior glasses, pair it with a Chanel suit or something like that, like that old fashioned runway model look. I love that.
Ah, nice. Nice. Another question came in. Do fashionable clothes really change the way a person looks? That's
um, dang. I would say probably.
See,
Yeah.
this is one of those cases where I would love to have you in the studio because
Really?
because there's no pulling the punches,
Yeah.
It's okay.
I think that when I look at someone and I feel like they can dress, it makes them more attractive. So absolutely.
Okay, so that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Versus someone got their pants sagging and
exactly, and then you can see that confidence on that person. That's what makes them more attractive.
Okay. Now, I hear that modeling can be stressful. How do you handle stress?
It can be stressful. Honestly, I just give it to God. I give it to God. I just pray,
Oh goodness.
Stress is gonna come.
Okay. All right.
It's gonna come.
So we had. Did you watch the inauguration today?
I watched a little bit of it. I did.
Watched it, and Michelle Obama was looking pretty
She looked
fabulous.
good.
Yeah. What would you wear to meet royalty or the president? What would you meet?
What would I wear?
What would you wear?
Don't tell me that.
You can wear
I
anything.
told you, I wear a nice vintage Chanel suit with a nice little cap, a little hat with a sheer.
Okay.
Listen, I go crazy with some pearls. Oh, absolutely.
You would go all out.
I would go all out.
Okay.
All out.
Good to know. So let's talk about some of some modeling and some of the folks and where have you modeled at?
Everywhere. I modeled for a big conference. It's actually a Christian-based conference called the GGG conference. That was like one of my biggest platforms. It's a really nice experience. I've modeled in music videos. I've modeled for Easy Stevie, DeVito, Tory Lanez video shot in New York. It was a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I know, but I want you to tell. I wanted you to tell folks.
Yes, guys.
Excuse me. Now you mentioned, again earlier you mentioned on that, your mother would always borrow your clothes and things of that nature. So now you get to pick out your own stuff. When you get older, do you think you will dress like your grandmother or your grandfather? Well, not your grandfather.
Really?
Yes. No,
probably not.
So let me say this, because I want some thought. I want you to think about this, because you think about it. And, I'd be like, oh man, because I see some older folks, and I'm like, no way in the world. I might be a little vain, but I'd be like, yeah, I'm be dressing pretty. I'm a pretty hip dude. I'm gonna be still looking pretty sharp.
Right.
I'm not gonna have socks on up to my knees with shorts on and flip flops. Even though those socks are very supportive. It's
right.
Clear. So what when you get older, what's your thoughts? You're gonna
I would definitely dress a little more conservative. I would say I'm not gonna say specifically like my grandmother. But I think that there's definitely stages in life where, hey, I'm at the age where I can show my body off by wearing a swimsuit. But I think that when I become a mom, I'll probably be a little bit more.
So there's phases.
Covered.
Okay, so there's phases to it.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, I think it's phases. Yeah.
Yeah, see, because some folks don't really get that. I mean,
I do believe that I'll still be like hip though. I believe I'll be,
You said you'll still be hip.
I will still be in tune. Okay.
Oh, that's funny. In terms of models that are out there, who would you like to, not even just models, but the models, designers, who would you like to work with?
I would love to work with Coco Rocha. As far as designers, Chanel. I love Chanel. I keep saying Chanel. Yeah. I would also like to work with Rihanna, Kim Kardashian. They are now stepping into the fashion industry, so I look up to them a lot.
How would you describe your own personal style, though? How would you describe your personal style?
I think my personal style is fun. I think it's just throw it on and go. Like I don't really think too much about it. I think
we're in that phase now. We just throwing. Yeah. I can't remember last.
Look, not that kind of throw on. Now. It still makes sense.
Okay, all right. Yeah, this is the exposed radio because we will expose you. Yeah,
no, just a simple look. I'm very simple. I'm very simple and just throwing a top, throwing some bottoms, and accessorize accordingly. Okay.
So let's talk about accessories, right? How important is it to accessorize? Because in some cases, so like men, wintertime, you got some dope boots, a nice coat.
Yeah. It can be important, I think it tops the look off. It's like the cherry on top of the ice cream of the sundae. So, if I wore my hair back or something like that, it would be important to wear some earrings, studs, or some hoops or something like that. just to kind of finish the look off.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Certain hairdos, you wear
Certain hairstyles, yeah. And it's like you have to be careful because you don't want to over accessorize. So
Okay. I'm learning something.
yes.
I don't know if it's gonna help me per se. I'm definitely learning some things here. I'm definitely learning some things. Now being a model, it's sometimes the perception that you get free shit.
You do.
Is that an actual fact or is that fiction?
That is a fact. That is a fact. I will get DMs through Instagram from different companies, different brands, and they'll ask me to be a brand ambassador. And from there, we'll just, exchange information. And then I'm posting a picture. Next thing I know, in their clothes or whatever it is. And it's a dope experience. I love it.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. I understand that. Other ways, that's the beauty about where we are in the world right now. And definitely try to find ways I'm a big component of multiple streams of income. So
absolutely.
That comes with my third principle of financial freedom, which is very important. Very important. All right, so we got a question that came in here. I think she has answered that already. They say, how much money do you spend on clothes a year?
Yeah, I do not have an exact number. I don't.
But it sounds like
I have to slow down.
Oh, this is funny. All right, another question from our audience. What are some of the strangest fashions you have seen?
Strangest fashions?
Yeah, so let me help you with this one. This is all you though, which no judgment, right? Is it okay to wear stripes and polka dots? It just don't look right to me.
Typically, no.
Right?
No. So that would be a strange one.
Yeah, I've seen. No, you can't use mine. Use your own.
I mean, I haven't really seen anything lately.
Oh well.
But I have a specific taste. There are some things that I don't really like, but I don't want to, discourage anyone.
No, well, we know we want to inspire them. That's what we're not trying to. We're going to inspire them, but we want to give them some information.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the stacked pants, like when it's overly stacked. I like the slits in the, on the side of the pants. I like that, the zipper on the side of the pants, but just the stack all the way up to almost to the knee, I'm not a huge fan of.
Oh, okay.
That's becoming a trend.
All right, we staying with fashion now. We stay with fashion. What fashions that you see today do you think will be out of fashion within 2 years?
The stack pants. The stack pants, absolutely. That's not going to be in the next couple of years.
That is too funny. That is too funny. One of the questions that I ask all my guests, which is very, very important. What does living a rich life mean to you? When you hear that or heard that term, what does living a rich life mean to you?
I think about being happy. I think that's, a rich life. Being happy with what you're doing, regardless, whether you have it or not, whether you have the finances or not. I think that being happy is the most important thing.
So happiness, whatever that looks like. That's what's up. That's what I like to
That's the rich life, doing what you love.
Nice. So what would you tell anyone out there that would be interested in getting into the modeling industry? What advice would you give them?
I would tell them to, go do a small photo shoot, go get some headshots done because they're going to ask for headshots and full body. When you do it, don't wear like a full face of makeup. They're not looking for that. And just, start a portfolio and put yourself out there. And, we do have the social media platform as well. I would also start taking pictures for social media, put your professional pictures on there and see how far it can take you.
Have you ever had to deal with, I don't want to say arrogant, or let's say difficult client or customer, so to speak?
Yeah, no, there are some, clients that won't allow you to just fully go through with your vision, but I think that's normal. Some clients, they have a vision, they have something specific in mind, and they just want it fulfilled. So, just me working with them, I have to do the best that I can to make sure their vision is fulfilled at the end of the day.
Yeah, this is true. And one more question here for you. So what hobbies do you have that relate to the fashion industry?
That's a good question. I can draw a little bit, a little something. I do like to sketch. I like to sketch fashion. And shopping. Shopping.
Spoken like a true model. Spoken like a true model. Spoken like a true model. Well, I definitely want to thank you for joining us. As I mentioned earlier in the show, this show is dedicated to an extraordinary man, Franklin James, who passed away on the 16th. And he would definitely enjoy having a conversation with you.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
He was pretty stylish. So, let's close out with, again, providing folks with your social media, how they can get to your fashion, your boutique. So we'll call it a boutique, right?
Yeah.
And share that information with them before we close out, and then any closing remarks you like to give.
Yes, my Instagram once again is official Jada M, official Jada with 2 A's at the end and the M. All of my information is in my bio, and my website is 1117 by Jada M. And I just want to thank you guys for having me. This was fun. I had a great time.
Well, thanks for joining. I know you was, again, being politically correct. But you'll be all right. You'll be all right. So at this time, again, I want to thank my guests for being a part of Living a Rich Life. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing your inspiration. In times when things are uncertain, always remember to be the best self. Look at that, somebody calling me. They know I'm on the show.
That's what was going on with me. I'm thinking my signal is acting up.
Yeah. It's crazy. But, that's what we got to balance. As I was saying, in times when things are uncertain, always remember to be your best self and live a rich life. With that being said, I would like to close out with a message that was shared with me by Franklin James. And, he's the one that actually was one of the keys as to me getting into the whole radio. And I wanted to share a message with him that he shared that pretty much got me what I wanted to do today. And I'm getting a little emotional, so bear with me, Jada.
I'm here.
We're gonna find that. Here we go. And that. And righty. So, had a conversation with Franklin, and he said something along these lines to me. He said, "Every man's life ends the same way. It is only the details of how he lived that distinguish one man from another." And I will have to say that Franklin truly was a man in the class all his own. You will be missed, Franklin. And I thank you for the push. I thank you for the support. And again, once again, you will be missed. So until next week, again, thank you, Jada, for joining. Thank you, Garrett Jackson, for joining Living a Rich Life. Continue to be well. Continue to be inspired to live a rich life. I'm your host, Rich James. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Until next week, take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.